little bit of background. First of all, regarding the European Joint Programme on Rare Diseases, as it's going to be presented in the call of the European Commission, and this is something that you can already see in the draft that was published. So this is just to show you what it is exactly about. So you have to, first of all, you need to know that the European Joint Programme co-fund, actually it's an instrument from the European Commission that has been created in order to bring together different expertise, putting together funding, research, training. So it's really a great instrument where we can really put things together under one umbrella. So for the one on rare diseases, obviously the objective will be to create a research and innovation pipeline to ensure rapid translation of research into clinical applications and uptake in healthcare for the benefit of patients. What is important also is that you need to know that the EJP instrument is for research. So regarding the specific objectives that are expected from the European Commission towards this program is the improved integration, efficacy and production and social impact of research on rare diseases through the development, demonstration and promotion of sharing of research and clinical data, materials, processes, knowledge and know-how, and to implement and further develop an efficient model for financial support for research on rare diseases, including different types of research. A quick look on the timeline, because this is not something that is being developed since yesterday, but actually since more than 1 year. So let's say that the official work started in March 2016 at a workshop that was organized by ERN at EWER, of which I'm actually the coordinator. And this was the first time when we were discussing what are the potential tools for the sustainability of the funding activities and other instruments and programs that were created and funded by the European Commission since many years. So this meeting actually led to the official letter that was sent by the European Commission to the permanent representations of the member states to nominate the experts that created the first starting working group that started to think about what would be this European Joint Programme on Rare Diseases. Then this group had a meeting in October, and then actually between December and February, this group, together with some specific additional experts that were called for that, prepared the first concept draft of the EJP on rare diseases. The second meeting of this group took place in April this year, and this is where actually for the first time we also started to create and enlarge working groups that were dedicated to develop the second concept. And so actually, the nomination of new experts to the working groups took place between April and June. And many representatives of the European reference networks were involved in these groups. So it was actually more than 70 people that were working on that. And myself, I was also communicating directly to the coordinators of the European reference networks to transfer the information, to ask for your feedback. And actually, I was very happy because this collaboration was working very well. And so actually, the new concept draft was developed between June and October. So you can imagine it was also the summertime, but people were working really very hard to develop the concept. So the concept was sent actually yesterday to the European Commission, that sent it today to the member states representatives. And we are going to have a meeting with a member states representative next week on Tuesday. And this is actually the end of the work of the working groups that were working on the concept draft, because by the end of October or probably beginning of November, the official, not a draft, but the official work program of the Commission is going to be published. And starting from that moment, we are going to really start working on the writing of the application for the European Joint Programme on Rare Diseases. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit what actually we came up for this concept draft and the concept of the EJP. So as you can see here, this is the kind of a structure. As I'm saying, this is the concept. Everything can change. I'm not going to give you, like all details of what is exactly in each of the pillars. I will try to describe a little bit, and what I'm going to focus actually is on how you, as the ERN as a whole, and the ERN members, you can participate, or you can imagine your participation in this future program. So as you can see here, we have the coordination with also transversal activities, and then the activities are divided into four pillars, 3 that are vertical, I would say, and 1 which is horizontal, because it is really connecting or going through all the 3 pillars. So the first one, and maybe I will put myself here, it's maybe easier to see. So the first one is about funding. So it is really about the funding activities, which means that we have this program which is called ERNet EBER, that actually exists since already 11 years and is launching joint transnational calls every year for the research projects that are financed. And so we are going to put in the ERNet EBER into this first pillar with its joint transnational calls. So in addition to that, we also want to develop an additional funding activities, like, for example, the networking support scheme. So this is something that is going to be maybe a little bit similar to the cost actions, which will be specifically targeted to the rare diseases community, with some very small support grants of probably, 30,000 euros. So you could do the networking, expand your networks, you could do some specific workshops and so on. The RD challenge is a specific collaboration with actually private industry, where together with the private industry we would like to set up short challenges. So we are talking here about high TRLs, only 12 months of development of the projects. This would be kind of a kick-off starting grants to do the kind of a proof of concept within 12 months, and then the industry is going to uptake the projects further. And then, of course, there will be a monitoring. The second pillar is about coordinated access. So here we are talking about integrating the already existing tools into one platform and also developing them further. So they could be used to do research, but also to connect research and diagnosis, research and clinics under one umbrella. So obviously, everything which is related to the next generation data is infrastructures, so things like, registries, biobanks, clinical data should be, the tools to use it and to integrate it will be available on this platform. We are talking in this pillar also about some specific pilot projects that are going to be developed under umbrella of the EJP, like, for example, the pilot projects on multi-omic strategies to unravel new disease mechanisms, or innovative strategies for development of therapies in clinical trials. And we also planning a kind of a brokerage system, which is, let's say, copied from a system that already exists in Canada, and actually it allows to finance the connection between the clinician that has, for example, a gene or a variant that must be validated in a model. And so it is about connecting the clinician and the research team that have a suitable model and could develop that and do this validation for the clinician. The pillar number 3 is about training. So it's about training, different types of trainings. So we have here trainings on data management and quality. So again, everything, also the tools that will be developed here will be also connected with the trainings that will be proposed within the pillar 3. There's also trainings that are related to patients, so everything which is the capacity building and training of patients. And here we are collaborate very closely with ERNs that actually took the responsibility of that. And so we hope that we will be able to contribute and to integrate and co-finance some of the activities that already exist, were developed, like summer school, but also the new winter school that will be developed by ERNs, and hopefully also another training for the leadership of patients. Another thing we would like to develop is actually the e-learning platform where we want to integrate the online academic education courses. What it is about is that actually several countries, not all of them, but several countries already have some specific education and academic courses for rare diseases. We would like to take this opportunity and bring all these trainings together and develop a specific e-learning module that will be open to everybody. And it's going to be financed through the EJP to be able to give the access to the rare diseases training for anybody who would like to access it through this e-learning. And then, of course, we cannot forget that you, as the ERNs, develop a specific education and training work package within your activities. And so we are obviously planning to connect the activities and to integrate some of the trainings that are going to be proposed through your networks to also into this training pillar. And finally, Pillar 4, which is transversal, as I already said. Why it is transversal? Because it's about acceleration of transnational research. And so here we are talking about having a guiding service and access to the infrastructures. So this is really having a physical help desk that is going to help any researcher or clinician or whoever would like to develop a project, research project, or a clinical trial. You will be able to come to this help desk, and we are going to help you to find specific partners, but also to use the capacities that we are going to have internally. So, for example, the capacities of the ERNs to help in this guiding. Then, of course, we are also planning to have a direct assistance to the funded projects. When we talk about funded projects, it means the funded projects that are going to come in through the Pillar 1, because we have to start with something. And together with help of the European reference networks, we are actually planning to have the support to design the clinical trials. Okay, so now very quickly, how you as ERN can participate in these activities. So regarding the funding, first of all, of course, you can directly respond to the calls. You have to remember just that in those transnational calls, you are not considered as an ERN as a whole because you do not have a legal entity. So we think of you in terms of research groups, so separate institutions as research groups. Of course, you can also respond to the other calls, the call on the networking or the call on the RD challenge that are going to be proposed under this pillar. Regarding the coordinated access to data and services, well, there are different ways of doing this. So obviously as the users of the proposed platforms, as the developers that are going to be contributing to the development of the platform, at least some things in this platform, as the researchers participating in the pilot projects that are going to be developed under Work Package 2 and 3, for example, but also as infrastructures providing the resources like samples, patients, and the expertise, of course. And then as clients, so again, for this brokerage system, when you are coming with actually, let's say, your gene or your variant, and you need to find a partner who could validate for you this in some specific model. Regarding the Pillar 3, as I already mentioned, obviously you can participate as trainees for trainees of the trainings that will be proposed, as providers of trainings, and also as co-developers of specific trainings that already exist, but that we would like to expand. And what is also important, I think, to mention here, that this e-learning platform that we would like to put in place, obviously, it's not going to be a e-learning platform created from scratch, but we are going to find a provider for this kind of e-learning. But this is something that we would like to put to give to you as the ERNs, so you could also use it to put there your trainings, for example. So normally we already kind of evaluated the cost of such a or using such an e-learning platform. It shouldn't be very high. So we think that hopefully we would like to provide this e-learning platform also as something that would be available for the ERNs to use to create your e-learnings and to put your e-learnings to be available to the community. And finally, for the Pillar 4, again, we could imagine ERNs participating as users, as the experts that will be participating in the experts boards that will be part of this guidance and help desk. And again, as the infrastructures, as the ones who are going to be, doing the clinical trials, the ones who are, the source of the expertise and patients. So 2 slides, because now all that is about how you can participate, but it doesn't mean that we have solved actually the problem of how you can participate as a beneficiary, direct beneficiary of the EJP. Why? Because I can tell you already now, it is not possible to involve all members of the ERNs as a direct partners in the EJP. Because we cannot imagine that we will have over 300 institutions only from the ERNs, knowing that we will have probably about another 70 or something like that from the member states. Because the EJP is a program which is not dedicated only to the European reference networks, although you are a very important partner in that. So I'm showing this to you because this is something that will be a discussion that will be started by the European reference networks, by you, by your coordinators, by you as partners, by you as within your networks. And I think it's important that you know about it and that somehow you find a way of how you would like to participate in the EJP. So how we can imagine the participation of the European reference networks as beneficiaries. So direct beneficiaries, which means the ones who are signing the grant agreement with the Commission. Well, you can imagine that from the start, all ERNs are going to be represented in the EJP. When we talk about representation, it means it's going to be done through a single partner of each of the ERNs. So how this can be done? Either through the coordinating institution, or it can be also a single designated partner, one per ERN, that will be participating as a direct beneficiary. What is important, that doesn't matter who it is going to be, which institution, this institution has to have the capacity to distribute funds to the other partners. And from what I understood, it is not always so easy. Of course, it doesn't mean that if you have only one institution that it's going to be, as I said, this only institution will receive money, but this institution will receive money and will have to distribute it to the others, because you will have to agree on actually who is doing what. Once we will be now starting, because what I've shown you is just a concept, but we do not have details yet. We do not have details on every work package. We do not have details on the tasks and so on. So this is something that is going to be developed now during the writing phase, and it means that the role of the ERNs must be evaluated here. So, but it means also that the role of the ERNs in the EJP, in the draft in the application that we are going to submit, must be still identified. So it is possible that in that case, the other partners of each of the ERNs are considered as third parties. So as I'm saying, this implies, of course, sending the money from this central, let's say, institution to the others. The other option is, and this is also again for you to decide, is that not all of the ERNs participate from the start, but only some specific ones. In that case, actually, the integration of the new European reference networks into the program would be progressive whenever identified, and this can be done because the instrument allows it, because there will be annual work plans that will have to be submitted to the Commission and validated, and it means that at the occasion of every year, there is a possibility also to amend the contract and add new partners if this is necessary. But that means, of course, that these new partners need to be identified, let's say, within 6 months in advance before we submit the new work plan to the Commission. And this is it. So I'm sorry for being long. maybe just one thing I want to add, and this is not at all about the EGP, but since I'm here with you and your work is focusing on vascular diseases, I wanted also to tell you that there is another instrument that is financing actually research on cardiovascular diseases, and this program is called ERA CVD. I do not know if you know it or not. So it's ERA CVD. So if you put it in Google, you should find it easily. And so I'm also representing ANR in this in this program, and we are financing projects, research projects every year. So the next call is going to be open probably by the end of the year. So I really strongly encourage you, if you would like to, if you are interested in funding of your research, knowing that this is about transnational projects. So it means that you have to have 3 partners from 3 different countries. But I think it's not a problem in your case. But really, yeah, go to the website and see a little bit how does it work. But it's another funding opportunity for you. Thank you.